We spent a night here just north of Black Point, and we're about to set sail. Really light winds today, but we need to get back up there so we can reprovision before we head down to Eleuthera and Exumas. And what a pretty day to do it. Look at the water, it's so calm and it's so crystal clear. We should stay and clean the bottom, but food.
Better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight.
Well, we don't have enough wind to actually go anywhere because the current is too strong and the wind is too light. So we tried sailing with our head sail and mainsail up, but we just kept getting pushed towards shore. It's really light wind, really calm day. There's like barely any ripples in the water. So we figured, why not test the motor? Right now, we're going, how fast are we going? 1.5 knots?
1.1 knots.
1.1 knots. So we barely have the motor going, but it's a nice sunny clear day. There's not a stick of a cloud in the sky, and we have our solar panels at a pretty good angle. We're actually still pumping in power and using the motor. We're pumping in about 2.5 amps, and just to give you guys an idea what that is, we have a 48 volt bank. So we're pumping in, what's that? Almost 100 watts.
Is getting closer every dawn. Ooh, we are dreamers of the shore.
We rarely use our motor, and the last time that I can remember that we extensively used it was to get out of the boatyard for the last time. Thought, why not test out the motor, because so many people have been asking about what our setup is. How much electric are we using the motor? How much are we pumping in with the solar? So because our solar panels are adjustable, Beau is being the energy hog that he likes to be, to see how much more we can maybe pump in while the sun is directly behind us on our solar panels. All right, what's the data?
So I tweaked the solar panels slightly. We were getting about 2.5 amps, but now we're pumping in 5.5. So the angle to the sun makes a huge difference. Just so we can keep this legit and not have any wind helping us, we're gonna drop all the sails. The head sail's already dropped, so now we just have to drop the main.
So it's not legit unless you write it all down.
Gotta have somewhere to remember it all.
So when we do the next testing?
Yep. And to graph it all out, make it look pretty. So we can woo and wah people. Woo and ah. Ooh and ah. So we can ooh and ah people.
So what exactly are we tracking?
So there are a lot of factors, variables, whatever you want to call them, that we're gonna throw out the window. Sea state, it's gonna be consistent. Our bearing's gonna stay consistent, right, helmswoman?
Yes. Check. Got it.
And we're gonna measure the same distance between. Oh, and the wind's staying pretty consistent at 5 to 8 knots. But we are going to take down the time, and we're gonna test kind of two conditions, with the solar panels pointed at the sun, and then with the solar panels completely shaded from the sun. That way we get a true reading of what our our motor is actually consuming, and what we can kind of get away with perfect sun conditions right now. And then we're also going to track how fast we go.
Our bearing is 30, and I am just holding this until we can get 0.1 nautical miles, and we take the data from the first point and the second point.
We turned all the solar panels, that way we can see how much power the motor is truly consuming without any, solar coming in. We're gonna keep on keeping on with the testing, and once we get to the anchorage and drop the hook, we'll crunch some numbers and get them to you guys.
Now, if you're wondering, what do we do with all this extra energy, since we don't use our motor a lot to suck that up? We eat it. Eating it. Just kidding, but kind of. We run an induction stove, and that actually sucks up most of our power. The solar brings in about an average of 3,500 watts a day. We probably are using between 1,000 and 2,000 watts a day. So we've got a good amount left over, but 2,000's on a high day. If we're cooking all day and we have friends over or something like that, that would be a high day. So just so you guys know, kind of the things that we're using outside of the things that normal boats use on house battery banks, we use all electric items. So on top of the electric motor, we've got the induction stove, we've got the Dometic freezer, we've got an inverter that we're running, we've got the toaster oven, an immersion blender, a coffee grinder. So that is all of the things that we use. There are some little things that we're not mentioning, but most of those things we're using not on a daily basis, but at least throughout the week. So most of those things are a smaller draw, but the biggest thing that we're using that sucks up all the power is our induction stove.
Do you guys really want to know what the results are? Well, I crunched some numbers, and instead of boring you with the details, I'll just give you the min and max. If you do want the details, check us out on our Patreon. I'm gonna post the graphs and all the pretty stuff and give you all the data. But before I do that, let me give you a recap on our battery bank. We have 16 kilowatts of lithium power that we run at 48 volts. And to let you know about the motor in general, our experience with it so far has been great. Once we got all the bugs worked out when we were at the boatyard, it's run flawlessly. It's helped us get out of some sticky situations, and we're really glad we've had it. But we don't use it often. The minimum speed that we went was 1.5 knots per hour. If there was no solar being pumped in at all, we could run that at 51 hours and we could go 77 nautical miles. That said, if we do have good solar coming in, we basically could run that thing probably indefinitely. But we're not really going anywhere. I'm sure by that time we could get some wind here or there. But it's nice to know. Our max speed was 5.5 knots per hour. And we could run that for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And we could go 2.5 nautical miles. We threw this whole test together because today we didn't have any winds and we just kind of seized the moment. It was thrown together. We didn't have things really laid out that well. So if we're missing anything or any data that you guys want to know, let us know in the comments below. Or if there's something about the electric motor that you're curious about, shoot us a comment.
We are back in Marsh Harbor. The only reason we came up was to actually reprovision because we are heading down to Eleuthera. We have been waiting for almost a month now for our anchor piece to get in, and it's supposed to be coming in here to Marsh Harbor. Our last cutoff day was yesterday, so it's not here. We haven't got notifications. It's been hung up in customs for weeks on end now, so we're decided that we are just going to go ahead and move on without it, as much as we hate to leave it behind. The anchor's still working perfectly fine. We would love it not to be bent and to have this piece, but unfortunately we cannot wait here any longer. We've already been here way longer than we expected, so we're probably going to have to hurry a little bit through Eleuthera. But today, we're gonna take you grocery shopping with us. So, let's go. So we pulled into this little bitty bay. I don't even know if you call this a bay. Little jetty, little something, because this is the nearest way to the road from the boat. Not all places that we go to have a dinghy dock or a dock or anything, so we have to improvise a lot. You're free! Ready to go grocery store?
There are much faster ways to get around, but when you slow down, take your time, you actually get to enjoy a lot more of the scenery.
Not to mention exercise. Good way to keep in shape. Walk everywhere.
As most places aren't dog friendly, one of us has to stay out with the Boonabear while the other one does the shopping.
So this store is definitely like Sam's or Costco's back in the States. You can get pretty much everything here. Cool thing is you do not need a membership, so that's good. We use a lot of oil. Actually, if you guys are looking for cereal, this has probably been the best place I've found prices-wise. I've been looking for Friends. We don't eat it, and I feel like it's probably hard to keep, fresh on the boat. The prices aren't that bad if you're dying for cereal. For example, this box of Fruit Loops is $11.19, and it comes with 2 bags in it. I don't know how much cereal is that in the States, so forgive me. It may be too much, it may be not enough, but it's definitely a lot less expensive than I've seen in other places in here, around. How heavy is it?
Yeah, I'm getting my workout in.
On your neck and traps?
Do my shoulder shrugs.
What did you think of the prices?
Actually, it's pretty reasonable. I mean, you're gonna pay a little bit more depending on what you buy, but we got 4 pounds of bacon for 28 bucks, so that's not too shabby. Chicken's only $1.99 a pound for the whole fryer chickens.
And it's organic.
And it's organic. Yeah, not too shabby. There is a little nursery and garden center right here, and because we have the composting toilet, we're gonna see if we can't pick up some peat moss.
How much was this?
This was 24 bucks.
Not bad.
No.
This poor guy is probably carrying 200 pounds on his back right now. He wouldn't let me carry any. Uphill. We'll get there. Now that's a great glute exercise. where our most expense went into. Olive oil. And coconut oil. And $45 worth of butter. Because keto. We follow a ketogenic lifestyle and we need a lot of oil and butter and those healthy fats. So that's why we spent so much money on the oils, and we go through a lot of them. Every morning we have coffee with butter and coconut oil and coconut milk. So all of our staples are usually based around a healthy fat. So last night we went through all of the cabinets in the SETI, everywhere we have food hidden, and did a final count of everything that we've gone through since we left the States. We've been here close to 2 months. And after our final count, we have decided we could probably go another 2 months on the food that we've stored.